So this is the Player's Choice for the Game Awards, which are Thursday night. Today's Wednesday. But so these Player Choice, Player Voice picks are submitted by the fans and then voted on by the fans, right? So this is outside of any structure that the Game Awards has. These are promoted, and these are the kind of the voice of the general fans, right? And so I think this is interesting to look at. And I have questions for these. So this is not, oh, look at this. But, we're struggling and having a lot of layoffs happening in the game industry. And so when I see something like this, it makes me stop. And it makes me wonder, right, you can't solve a problem if you're solving the wrong issues. So let's take a look at this and see if this gives us any insight into what's happening with the game industry. Right, so two questions I have. One question right away I have is, these are all games that are big in Asian markets and less big in the West. I mean, Black Myth, Wukong, and Genshin Impact are the two I'm probably most familiar with. But in America, they are way less played than Call of Duty, which is not on the list, right? And so this is very much, all of these have a look to them, and they come from that kind. So my first question is it just the demographics of voting? Is this ballot stuffing by some segment of our population, and it's not actually representative of all gaming? Or is this representative of all gaming, and that's how big the shift has gone, where we are now serving those markets even more than the West? Because then the follow-up question to that, of course, though, is where is the money? Because in general, you advertise to Western audiences because, like an American audience, you earn more money off of them than you do somebody in China, right? It's kind of like all the Web3 games pegged their economies on can people playing it earn more than a Filipino cab driver? I kid you not. Because if they could get over that, they could get those players in. Now, those players weren't sticky. Those players didn't make the game better, but they were players. So it's interesting here. I have to wonder, is this representative of the gaming community, or is this representative of just ballot stuffing of, like, the Western players didn't care about voting for this, or not? And then is this representative of what people actually play and want to play? Because on most charts, these games aren't. I mean, again, I think all of them have spiked and been at some point big games, but like Genshin Impact, I've tried to watch streamers play this, and every single time it's just them opening crates, right? Which then also just says all of these, except for Elden Ring, I think. I guess I don't know Zenless Zero or Wuthering Waves. I guess I'm going to backtrack all of that, but Genshin Impact definitely has a lot of gotcha in it, right? And it's got a lot of crates you open up, because every time I watch a stream, it's nothing but that. And I think Zenless Zone Zero is the same way. I could be wrong. But like, so that's not a reason people dislike these games, or is it in those demographics they don't like that, right? And this becomes a really hard thing of when you make games. Who are you making your game for? And then are you actually be able to hear and understand and kind of pull out that demographic and understand out of all of the data available, because you may be making the wrong choices. It's also why, if you're a small indie dev, make the thing that you love and that you care about, and then you'll make the best version of that, and you got to throw it on the rocks, and who the hell knows, right? But so I just thought this list was really interesting. And I'm going to end it with a little side note. I don't like award shows. I don't like voting on art. I think you'll rarely ever hear me talk about my favorite or the best ever, because I don't think that way about things. I'm appreciative of even things I dislike. But I do like and respect Jeff Keighley, and don't come here and badmouth Jeff Keighley. If you've gotten this far, do not. Because if you don't, you're going to come here, because if I start talking about this with developers, they'll just, the shill or whatever. Hey, I have introduced him to developers you never heard of. That was not on anybody's radar. And he then put those people up on stage, not just their trailers alongside people, the AAAs who paid millions to make their trailers and put them up on the Game Awards and fund it. He takes that money and then puts those indie developers up alongside of it. And he does that for free. And sometimes, like in this case of my friend Ulf for GTFO, he put him on stage with him. The amount of coverage you get for that, the amount of eyes on your game you get for that is insane. And Jeff did that for free because Jeff actually cares about the game industry and the games. And I know it doesn't come off that way because the show's very slick and it's very Hollywood, but underneath it all is still the Jeff Keighley that did the final hours of Half-Life and Portal 2 and all of those games. And yes, I'm included in the Portal 2 one, so maybe I'm biased. But seriously, I have introduced Jeff to indie developers like Ulf that were not on anybody's radar. So that aside, what does this say about the game industry? Does it say anything about the game industry? Does this matter? I don't know. I just thought it was such an outlier to what I would have expected to be on this list.